New liquor licensing laws aimed at curbing alcohol-related violence in Victoria are having the unwanted side effect of forcing small venues to close or change the way they do business. The laws came into effect at the start of the year, but have already been blamed for the demise of one of Melbourne's most revered music venues, the Tote Hotel. The pub closed its doors last night after 30 years at the centre of Australia's underground music scene. Its licensee saying the new laws have made it too costly to go on. Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
Couple of days. Take me along.
It's a scene that's been played out in this room for 30 years. A band giving their all to an adoring crowd. But it's last drinks at Melbourne's revered Tote Hotel. It's become the most high-profile casualty of Victoria's tough new liquor licensing laws.
It's a huge blow for Melbourne's reputation as one of the great live music cities in the world. The Tote was probably the best rock and roll venue. It's a very unique venue. This place has 30 years. I mean, you can see it in the carpet, the famous sticky carpet. It's a combination of, alcohol, some say vomit, tobacco. It sort of sums up, the history of this place.
I just want to say I proposed to my beautiful wife Kim here 20 years ago in that beer garden.
The birthday party, Spiderbait and the Dirty Three became household names to some after treading the infamous sticky carpet of the Tote's band room, along with ARIA award-winning artist Dave Graney.
I think it's a terrible thing for the Melbourne music scene in general, and the Brumby government should have someone in there with a bit of sensitivity to the music scene. If they want to have Melbourne paraded as an artistic centre, I don't know what they're up to. They're trying to win a Tidy Town award or something.
The liquor laws, which came into effect at the start of the year, mean any venue playing live or amplified music after 1 a.m. must provide at least 2 security guards as well as security cameras. Licence costs for these venues, dubbed high risk by the Liquor Licensing Board, have also gone up. And with other costs like the cameras, almost permanent security guards and legal fees, venues like the Tote have found it too expensive to continue.
In the end, the Tote is a commercial business. I make no apologies for that. I can't run it profitably under the high-risk conditions. I can't run it profitably trying to fight liquor licensing, and I can't find a compromise.
Melbourne has seen a boom in late-night bars and clubs since liquor licensing was deregulated in the 1990s. But it's also had a darker side, with an increase in alcohol-related violence in the inner city.
The new laws are part of an entire overhaul of our liquor licensing system, and that was announced by the Premier in 2008 as part of a response to an unacceptable rise in antisocial activity, a lot of that which is related to the operation of licensed premises across the state.
It's totally unfair. I mean, there's no violence here. The Tote's been a scapegoat for the violence of the inner city, the King Street beer barns and strip clubs, and that's not, for me, that's not Melbourne at all.
What irks the licensees of small bars, pubs and restaurants is that they're now lumped in the same class of venue as the big nightclubs and strip joints in the city that are seen as the cause of many problems.
I feel slightly insulted about that because, we are a food premises. We have mature people who come in. We do have young people who come in, but they are also mature in their attitude towards food and responsible drinking of alcohol.
Jim Pothitos has been running his restaurant at the fashionable end of Melbourne's Chapel Street for 25 years. He's now had to stop having live traditional Greek music because the new laws require him to station bouncers at his front door.
It's a deterrent. It deters people away from coming into a restaurant. Automatically to think that 2 burly guys standing outside my restaurant would scare people away.
Like Mr Pothitos, the Tote's licensee Bruce Milne argues the lack of violence and police calls to his premises should allow it to be exempt from the same high-risk category.
The Tote's licence allows us to open until 3 o'clock on Thursday, Friday and Saturdays. Therefore we're high risk, and then the conditions apply across the board. And that's the problem for us. We just would like to argue that, or wanted to argue that, if we've got a proven history of non-violence, we're not a high-risk venue, and we'd just like some consideration for that.
To suggest that we could only have live music venues that could successfully operate in Victoria by turning a blind eye to necessary conditions on the way in which those premises operated is a very dangerous area in which to get to.
The Tote's demise is the latest in a string of closures across the country, which have almost silenced live music in the inner city. Pubs like Sydney's famous Hopetown Hotel have also been forced to shut as new neighbours refuse to live with loud music into the early hours of the morning. Many now believe live music venues are facing a slow death.
A lot of bands, you know, this is pretty much one of the only pubs they can draw a crowd at with the sort of music that it hosts. It's just dire. I mean, if it goes unnoticed, then we're stuffed.
Venues have been closed down. It's really a great time for the security industry, but a bad time for musicians.
The state government says it's not to blame for the decline in music in Melbourne's inner city.
I don't accept for a minute that the sole outcome of our changes is going to be the diminution of live music in Melbourne. There are all sorts of reasons why the provision of music and entertainment across Melbourne has changed over the years.
But it does concede there may be room for compromise as licensees indicate problems with the new system.
We always knew when we introduced this new licensing system that there would be some further refinements we could make.
But any changes will come too late to save this Melbourne institution.
Thank you for being part of this. I love you, and I love you very dearly.
Hamish Fitzsimmons reporting from Melbourne.